Kiki ma ma ma. Welcome to the Cult Film Showdown's ultimate episode. This is the final episode of Masters of Horror. It's not the last episode for Cult Film Showdown, but we'll get to that later. The short version of that is we don't know what comes next. We are going through the 2005 to 2007 series Masters of Horror, and we are on the last episode of the series. This has been a wonderful journey going through the 26 episodes of this series. You can hear the Hounds of Hell in the background there. And
I was wondering what the hell that was.
It's my neighbor's having a fight with her dog. We can just wait. They're taking her out.
Taking it permanently? You mean they're killing your neighbor?
You mean taking it out? All right.
I apologize. They're gone.
That's all right. I may just leave all that. Leave aside that. All right. So the episode we're talking about now is Dream Cruise, season 2, episode 13, the 26th episode of the entire series, aired in February of 2007 as the final of this series. And this has been a fantastic journey, and I've been so blessed to have along for this ride Nick Boxer.
It's been great. Konnichiwa to offend anybody who's not going to be offended by our next guest, who's going to mispronounce everything as well.
And Jack Hall.
I think your Kiki impregnated my mama. I'm saving that one, and then the dogs got in the way.
Dream Cruise. Jack, who are our masters for this final go?
Our master, plural, is Norio Tsuruta. Norio Tsuruta, Japanese film director. Started his career in '85 with his first film, but really began working prominently in the early '90s, has worked steadily since, largely steadily since, in pretty much exclusively in horror. I don't know if you'd say he's the preeminent Japanese horror filmmaker, but he has several, credits, and he also did co-write this film, and I do mean film this time, because this episode Dream Cruise was originally shot as a 90-minute film and edited down to the 60-minute runtime for Masters of Horror, which is the version we all watched together. And once this is far enough from my mind, I'm definitely going to go back and watch the 90-minute version. But yes, Norio Tsuruta, Premonition, another one of his horror films, is probably his most, let's say, well thought of. Ringo, one of the Ring sequels, prequel technically, to the Ring franchise. A couple adaptations of manga that he's done, Orochi Blood. So yeah. In a Sama game, and again, I do know I am probably pronouncing most things wrong, though I do think Norio Tsuruta, I do think that is the correct pronunciation of the gentleman's actual name.
Now, Nick.
Oh, I suppose I should give you a brief rundown of the story.
Yeah.
This one's fairly straightforward. Our hero seems to be a lawyer, accountant type business dude is probably the best way to describe him, who is invited to go on a cruise with his most important client and the wife of that client, who he is also coincidentally having an affair with. This business dealings seem to be very important to get done. But once they're out on the ship, the client seems to know more about the affair than he originally let on. It also turns out that that same client may have killed his ex-wife in order to marry his current, much younger wife. But once they get out to sea, ghosts start haunting them and, showing up on deck and almost killing people and sometimes killing people. And spooky stuff happens and water starts flowing in everywhere. This is just an awesome type ghost story. I didn't think there was anything really terribly surprising that happened. But it was a well-constructed, traditional type ghost story.
With the Japanese twist. Because the Japanese presence of the Japanese style of filmmaking, style of horror is definitely there. But I agree, this is like a high quality episode, which is, like I say, why I want to go back and see the 90-minute one. See, because it's really actually paced really well at 60 minutes. And I imagine it's probably more characterization and leading into the boat. Whereas, because they do get to the boat pretty quick, where all the action happens. And from there, it's pretty much nonstop. But this is a really good episode and really good way for them to go out. As far as, delivering one of the better episodes of the season.
Yeah, I don't know. I had some problems with it, actually.
Okay.
At no time does anyone in this thing behave rationally. Which on a whole, horror movies, you don't typically. But you got people locking themselves in rooms after almost getting drowned in another locked room. You have people jumping in the ocean where there's no other boats trying to escape the ghosts. Yet you're in the middle of the ocean. Are you trying to live, or are you just trying not to die by ghost?
Well, you mean they jump in the ocean when the place explodes, so they jump into it because there's fire.
Yeah, they seem so happy after they think they've got away from the ghost, though. Like, you're gonna drown, you know that, right?
I think at that point it's like an old saying, like if you're falling off a cliff, you might as well you might as well try to fly. I mean, you're just doing do you want to get punched in the face or the gut kind of decision there? Like, do you stay with the ghost that you know is going to kill you, or do you go into the water where you're pretty sure it's going to kill you?
Oh no, it was actually
yeah, same thing with like you're locking yourself in a room. Well, you got locked in a bathroom, or you're in a room earlier but you get locked later on in a room, but your other option is to be beheaded by the crazy guy. Like I don't think this is irrational behavior in the moment. The only thing, there's some irrational behavior of the lead character, but most of the time, I think that it's like they're forced to react to in the moment and not think long term. And can't really blame them for that.
It's I will agree with the what you're saying, Jack, that it moves to the boat really quickly, so quick that I didn't really put it together until they were on the boat for a few minutes that it was his new wife. I initially thought it was his daughter because of the gigantic age difference.
I thought when he was spying on them early on and getting angry, that it was pretty clear it was his wife.
No, I thought
you're right. They didn't make it explicit.
I thought he just
did not until they got in the boat.
I mean, this is a Westerner who's lived in Japan for a few years and has never bothered to learn the language. So I just assumed he didn't like that. The reading I got was that he didn't approve of the relationship.
He said that he speaks it, but it's terrible. Yes, he didn't say he didn't learn it at all. I mean, look, this is the same man who Daniel John Gillies is married to Rochelle Lee Cook in real life. It's good enough for her. I think he should be good enough for any anybody else's daughter as well.
That's fair. I mean, I'm familiar with her work, and I'm assured that she is all that.
Exactly. Nicely done. Nicely done. What a pussycat.
I think they did a good job, but not a perfect job of the like the locked room. There are other horror films like this where they end up on a boat, and a boat is, like, as Nick was saying, it's an incredibly dangerous thing because, like, it's, frying pan into the fire, to add another cliche to mine. That is, like, there's nowhere you can run. There's no one coming to help you. You are just stuck in this situation that is, like, profoundly bad.
I mean, if you're running from a ghost, there's nothing you can do, period. So I don't know.
That's true. I think we've learned from The Grudge that no matter where you go, that ghost's going to find you.
Yeah. Although this ghost seems to have a circumference. Like, they do find an edge to the ghost's influence.
Well, it's the ghost of his wife that he killed, and he is taking them. Now, this is the one where I thought somebody acted strangely. He killed his wife with no real thought of how to make it seem like he's not the murderer, and yet the police could find no clues leading to the obvious murder of his wife at sea. Things like the blood that was everywhere. I mean, theoretically, he would be the number one suspect for the police, since they go out in the boat together and only he comes back. And they may check for murder. He says, of course, it's an accident. You'd think they would check for murder, though, and find, I don't know, the blood. Yeah, sure, he cleaned it. It's blood. They have ways of seeing that, even after it's being cleaned. So this is the one where I thought that was the stretch. But the idea is he's taking them out now. He's going to kill his new wife and the husband for cheating on him. And throw them into where he anchors essentially in the same area as where he was previously, had killed his wife. So this is why his wife is within this area, this circumference, haunting them.
It's like his good luck killing people spot. He's been. I mean, if you got away with one murder, like, you gotta believe that luck had something to do with it. So. I kind of feel like he was just rich enough to get away with it. Like, you went out sailing. Your wife, who there really is no other explanation. She falls overboard, and your chick on the side is waits a reasonable amount of time before you get remarried. Who's to say otherwise?
I never thought of lucky killing spot as a thing, but you're right.
Does he take them there, or does the ghost lead them there?
Oh, he definitely takes them there.
Yeah.
He definitely does. And then he's killed by the ghost, who then possesses him to kill, because he's also upset at the wife, because the wife, the ghost is also upset with the wife, and now the main character is just in the way. And,
I guess that's the poor motivation for, like, there's no motivation for killing him. If anything, he was making her husband, ex-husband, her widower husband, his life miserable. So, like, leaving them as they were was probably some decent punishment. But she also wanted to get it back at the other woman. Yeah.
And she's crazy. I mean, she's crazy. I mean, that's kind of, she's a ghost. She's ghost crazy.
She's a Japanese ghost too. Like, there is that, like, single-mindedness to the ghost stories I've seen from Japan. Like, they're kind of monotasking. They have a wide variety of motivations. It's just the one thing.
This is true.
What else do we say about this thing?
The visuals were gorgeous.
Oh yeah, definitely. Shot beautifully.
That's one thing I thought this entire Masters Horror, there isn't that much beauty in any of the special effects, but this one really upped it in that category.
Yeah, they do really well, framing things so that you get the claustrophobia of inside the boat, and you get the like emptiness of the ocean around them. Like you really get a feel for, like it feels like they're really at, like, far from land. You could go any direction by accident and be lost kind of spot. Like there's no, I never got the feeling that they're in a pool somewhere, or that they're, you know, anchored at a dock and just shooting one direction.
The acting also, I think, was really good. Ryo Ishibashi probably. Ryo Ishibashi. He plays the spurned husband murderer. I thought he was just great. I thought he just came across like such a bastard. He was in The Grudge 1 and 2. I think he was the police officer.
Oh yes, he was.
Yeah. So I mean, he's I think he's a really good actor, and I thought I enjoyed his performance. Yes, it's a little over the top, but again, it's kind of what this style of horror needs.
Yeah, he gives a very intense performance. Like he's like it's deeper than anger. Like he really, like he's already had a precedent of killing his first wife, because he was just kind of annoyed with her. Like he needed her out of the way, and she was a pain. But yeah, like just it's more rage than anger, and he really does. He captures that really well. I love The Grudge. The Grudge is like the scariest movie I ever saw in the theater.
The Grudge is literally probably the last film that actually scared me. Like when I got to be an adult, films stopped being scary. The Grudge was like, whoa, okay, that was a scary film.
When did that happen?
And I'm talking the American version. When I saw that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, American one. 2004.
No, I meant, when did he become an adult?
Well, I never matured, but I became an adult chronologically.
Yeah. He identifies as an adult.
I've been identifying as an adult since I was adult. Yeah.
I mean, really, it was the difference between getting beer or not. So, so I mean, I still buy action figures if that's what you're talking about, but I can also vote. All right, then I kind of feel.
Wow. So that's about all we can say about this.
Yeah.
No nudity. Finished
No
at
nudity.
2.5.
That's
Nick is the winner.
Nick wins.
Yeah. But speaking of nudity, we were all together, like I said, when we watched this, and real quick, we watched something else that I'm not going to let go untouched. While we were at it, consider this bonus material before we decide what we're doing next season, if we do, which we may not. We saw The Mothers. The Mothers. Not at AS. It's MUTHERS. On Shudder. It's hosted by Joe Bob Briggs, the great Joe Bob Briggs. And that had the nudity we needed. In fact, I like that we're watching it and everyone's thinking it's a woman in prison film. At this point, we should have had nudity, and we didn't. So you go to chase, because we had all gotten together at the gold-encrusted Castle Cata. James's place there, James, and you went to go chase your cat and came back going, did I miss the shower scene? I'm like, it's okay. I'll watch it again. So
The Mothers.
Directed by the great Filipino schlock director Ciro Santiago. Is it Sino or Sino? It's Sino, isn't it?
Cirio Santiago.
Cirio Santiago? Is it an R? Okay, I thought it was Sino Santiago. But no, Cirio Santiago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Legend.
Legend, yes. Cirio Santiago, who we have, of course, done films from before, and we will talk about films from again at some point in the future, I'm sure, because this this was I think when I was over with us, I said we need to talk about this film because we watched it, and Nick properly stated we didn't watch it. We watched the hell out of it, and it's something else. It's just for Playboy models, prison, martial arts, and awesomeness.
No, this film never met a genre I didn't like.
No, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a real showpiece of Serio because I'd explained it to my wife Lacey that it was it's about pirates who take on a spy mission at a prison camp to free a captured girl who was taken in white slavery, and they spend a lot of time picking coffee.
Yeah, they
and coconuts. They don't talk about the coconuts
these
enough.
Pirates are these pirates. That's a good point. These pirates are brought in to pick. They think they're coming, because it's usually the case when you capture someone in white slavery, even though none of the main characters are white. We capture somebody in white slavery. Usually, it is to pick coffee. That's the number one reason for white slavery. But
they did say they were
go in to
sending off
capture
the more attractive ladies into some sort of sex ring as well.
Maybe. I mean, the point is, though, you're picking coffee, and there is no escape. If you escape into the jungles, they will find you and keep going till they get you. And because the reason they go in and the pirates agree to go in on a spy mission for the government. The reason is because the lead pirate's sister has been captured and is now in there. And they get in there and they see her right away, and she's being led off. And you assume she's being led off into the sex slave. Then you find out she escaped. Then you find out she's dead. This all happens in about 3 minutes. And
all off screen.
And it's all off screen. And then they spend the rest of the time in no way bringing it up ever again that you were there to rescue somebody who died. And
well, and they're
not at all important.
Their spy contact, who's supposed to get them out, dies almost immediately. Like
yes.
They're there for about like an afternoon, and then he like turns up, has a bad cover story, and they kill him.
Yeah. So then it just becomes about these women trying to escape, and the interpersonal relationships between them. Mm-hmm. They're supposed to, pull at your heartstrings, but you're too busy looking at the incredible, martial arts that these women don't know that they're performing. That there's a reason why Quentin Tarantino wrote about this film. So why is this cruddy little flick one of my favorite movies? It's the playful execution of a preposterous story that's the key to the film's charm, and I think that sums it up very well.
I mean, then it starts with it's a pirate film. It's just so weird from the very beginning. They're pirate revolutionaries too, right?
Yes, they're pirates. They steal from the rich to give to the crippled.
Oh, that's right. They have they're pirates.
I believe that's how it's put in the film.
Yeah,
that they're stealing from the rich to give to the crippled in this case, as the handicap we would probably say now, but in the film I believe that's how it's referred to.
I'm sorry, you did mention that these girls don't know martial arts, but I will say the action scenes are spectacular in this because one of them does know some sort of gymnastics. So the fights are entertaining because there's people jumping around. I've seen movies with bad martial arts, and I mean, the martial arts in this aren't good, but at least they're entertaining.
They're not good. Oh, they're entertaining. They're damned
Yeah,
entertaining.
no,
The gunfights also are
this is not
entertaining. That's something
Dolomite
that
kung fu that happens in this movie.
no. But this is something that Santiago always excels at is firefight, is a gunfight, big firefight
yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
And this has several of those and several of people jumping in the air from explosions for no reason and all sorts of fun stuff. Like it's a blast. It's a blast.
And the main bad guy is spectacular. I loved him. I wanted to hang out with him on the weekends.
He was so great.
Tony Carrion. Or no, John Montgomery as Turco. Was it John Montgomery as Turco, or was it Tony Carrion as Monteiro? Which one was it? I can't.
Well, I think Turco was the main bad guy, wasn't he? Like the main heavy. The main heavy is what I was thinking.
Yeah, John Montgomery. Yeah, Turco.
The only thing this didn't have was Vic Diaz. That's it would have made it perfect.
Amazing.
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
If Vic did almost every other. Well, yeah, I could have had that too, and like a longer shower scene.
Yeah, I mean, it was really Jane Bell that was naked a couple times for no reason, and they're fantastic. But the others wouldn't go on. She was the only one who had been a Playboy model at the time, I think this film was made. And well, maybe Roseanne Catton had been already.
No, I think you're right that the other two were
after
models after, because one of them wasn't a model until quite a while after. It was like 82 or something like that. It was connected
Jane
to
Kennedy.
It was connected to a movie she had done. So she wasn't a playmate either. She was like one of those layout features that they did with actual celebrities.
Back when they do that, back before it was ruined by Plato.
I would have thought that the Lindsay Lohan was jumping the shark.
Lindsay Lohan was the nail in the coffin. Don't get me wrong.
Lindsay Lohan, 10 years after anyone wanted to see Lindsay Lohan nude.
Yeah.
It was such a great movie. I'm as we were talking, I was getting it a little mixed up. I had to go back and review because it made me watch like 4 other women in prison movies from around the same time. So like a triple bill with Pam Grier.
Nice. And you had a bunch of Playboys to look up online.
That's right. I did find the Playboy issues, and Jeannie Bells is the one that's worth pulling up.
Yeah, I believe it. She is
what a different phrase there.
It in this.
The one worth seeking out is what I wanted to say there.
Oh, you said what you meant.
Pulling out, huh?
Yeah, you should whip that issue out. Yeah. It can't be beat. Well, we've reached the end of the Masters of Horror. We have talked about several ideas of what we want to do next. We'll probably take a little break as we make decisions.
Oh, we took a little break to do these.
Yeah, this was itself a break. So we'll pause in the middle of this break. We've got a few ideas. We may try something totally different. You just never know with us. I mean, I had pitched a while back that we could do a Sirio Santiago. I pitched it as a season, but like it could have just been.
Well, we did do. I think we had just done a season from the Philippines, so. Yeah. We had already covered like 5 of his films there.
No, that was me gaming the system. So that I had pitched a Sirio Santiago and no one wanted to do it, so I just made it about the Philippines and used the same movies I would have before.
Hilarious.
Like, hey, movies about the Philippines. Yeah, that's like movies shot in the Philippines. There were so many great ones in the 70s and 80s. I'm like, right. They were all by Sirio Santiago, so let's go. Uh,
Perfect.
all right.
Perfect.
Well, this
What
has
are
been
the
terrific.
9 options? Let's just go through quickly. What are the 9
What we
options,
had,
just out of curiosity?
yeah, I think I caught everything in the way we had on our short list. I had just eliminated. I think we had gotten to 10, but I just cut off there's a Boris Karloff anthology that is just way too hard to find, unfortunately. So no one would be able to watch along with us, which I think should probably a factor to our decisions in the end. So the ones that I have on the list here are Freddy's Nightmares, 1988, Freddy Krueger anthology, Nightmare Cafe, 1992, which is Robert Englund. So similar structure. Masters of Science Fiction, which is the kind of the cousin, the younger cousin of Masters of Horror. As a lot of the same people went on to do that on network. Tales from the Crypt. There was a ton of those, so there's a few different ways to make that one a thing. Tales from the Dark Side, 1983. Hammer House of Horror, which was Hammer's foray into TV as their light was fading, 1980. American Gothic, which is not an anthology, but was a really remarkable horror series from the mid 90s that ran for one season and does have a defined beginning and end, and a fantastic cast. Fear Itself, 2008, and we'd also looked at Night Gallery from the 60s, the other series from Rod Serling from the 1960s.
I don't think we got a loser in that bunch. I think everywhere we go is I mean, not a lot of nudity coming out of those. So that is,
Really only a
you
couple.
say
Yeah, Hammer has some,
Yeah.
and Tales from the Crypt is probably the one that would have the most.
Yeah, I mean, again, it would be a full season without nudity. But on the other hand, some really good stuff. Do you think for a full season you can get your nudity somewhere else there, Nick?
Oh, I'm sure the internet may have some out there. I'll have to look.
You think?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's pretty hard to find nudity on the internet.
I've actually turned around on this. The last time we briefly discussed this, I was dead set against Masters of Science Fiction, but I think I'm leaning that way now. Get some different types of programming to watch.
Yeah, we didn't look at too much outside of the horror, and Masters of Science Fiction actually was only 6 episodes, so that's a pretty short run if we wanted to do that one up.
Because as much as I actually do want to go and revisit Tales from the Crypt desperately, that's a long run to commit to.
Yeah, I think
that's it. We would do a season. What we would probably do is one season from the original series and maybe one season from one of the revivals. Because there's been 2 or 3 revivals.
Something like that. I mean, I was looking at the 89 to 96 run, which is a lot of episodes, but if you look at, if we were to use the Masters of Horror's lens, like there's 4 episodes by Russell McKay, 3 by Robert Zemeckis, 3 by Richard Donner, 3 by Tom Holland. So you could Masters of Horror that one and pull out some really cool stuff. So instead of going in any kind of episode order, going in an order, like putting them together as like specific directors that we would chase down.
There was a Tales from the Crypt, if I remember correctly, Saturday morning cartoon.
I believe you're right.
That would be, I don't know if I could do a full season, but just watching one would be spectacular.
I have it on DVD.
Is it as spectacular as I think it would be?
Oh, it's terrible. It actually came in a cereal box or something.
And what was the other one that was, there was another science fiction one that HBO did that was similar. Just to add more
perversions of science. Is that the one you're talking about?
maybe, probably. Is it
97.
HBO?
Excellent question. Yes, it is.
So there you
1997.
go. Perversions of science fiction or
Perversions of science. Yeah, Perversions of Science.
Okay, so that's seriously that's got to go on the list because anytime you start with the word perversions,
Yeah, that's
I mean,
solid. Yeah.
Or we could get
Yeah.
something newer like Black Mirror.
yeah,
Eh.
I'd have to have
Oh,
I'd have
come
to
on.
have
The first
Netflix for
episode
that.
has a pig fucker.
I'd have to have Netflix for that, wouldn't I?
It feels a
Uh-huh.
little. It just feels a little like treaded. Like it doesn't feel like as it doesn't feel as us, to be honest.
Okay.
But I don't know. Or sampler. There's always the sampler option.
There is just to do one episode from every one of these would be now that we're up to with perversions of science and tales from the what was it the cartoon.
Yeah, I don't remember. I can't find it. I can't put my finger to it. Tales of the Crypt Keeper or something like that, right?
Okay, that yeah, Nick says he has the D. So if we put now we're up to 12. That's a full season if we just do one episode from one from everything we mentioned. Except that that doesn't really work unless you do the pilot, I suppose, of American Gothic. But
Yeah,
you know,
the pilot movie has like is pretty self-contained. Tales from the Crypt Keeper is the name of the animated.
yeah,
yeah.
Is it
three seasons?
HBO? Was it 3 seasons? What
3 seasons?
was it?
Yeah.
Syndicated or was it?
No. ABC was seasons 1 and 2, and then CBS was season 3.
Wow, way to take a series that is so not for kids and turn it into an ABC Saturday morning cartoon. That is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, they did that a lot in the 80s, but not as much into the 90s. I mean, the 80s had Rambo on Saturday morning, which was insane.
Toxic Crusaders.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Toxic
Oh
Crusaders
yeah.
I'm still not old enough for Toxic Crusader.
To tell you the truth, I'm starting to lean towards one episode of each one of these cartoons that we should never have watched. Never have seen that they shouldn't have put in this cartoon. One episode of Toxic Crusaders, one episode of Tales from the Crypt Keeper, one episode of Rambo. I mean, that's a season right there too. I mean, that's some good stuff right there. Yeah.
Chuck Norris's Karate Commandos.
I don't know if I'd count that. Maybe.
Well, he was still doing R-rated action, I think, when those came out. But I'd have to look at the exact chronology. But I believe he was still doing R-rated action.
Okay.
That was kind of the crossover when he started being a family brand as opposed to a action hero, that kind of action hero. But yeah, I think there's enough. Yeah.
On what would we call it? R-rated movies. Was there a Terminator? Was there a RoboCop? I think there was a RoboCop.
There was a RoboCop. Yeah, it was for sure. There was a RoboCop. There wasn't a Terminator though, and there wasn't. Yeah, but yeah, RoboCop for sure.
That's tremendous. Okay, because RoboCop is one of the most violent movies.
It is. The first one is just so it's so purposely over the top. Like he just wanted to make it so like cartoonishly violent, and then they made a cartoon. Well, we'll keep talking, but that's on. I think that there's there and maybe a couple of short runs would be good after 26 episodes of the same thing.
Yeah, that's true, and some of these are like half-hour things also, which maybe is consideration too. That's easy because I mean, yeah, it's just easy. It's that 20 minutes long, for like some of these things.
So what we'll do is just before we get into whatever we decide on, we'll put up a short podcast and video on our channels to announce what it is, because we really like it when people watch the episodes in advance and can laugh along with us. So this is the end of Masters of Horror. Thank you, Nick, and thank you, Jack, for coming along on this ride. And we can be found on YouTube and Instagram as the Cult Film Showdown, also Patreon. Support whatever the heck we do next. And we are sponsored by WeTalkPodcast.com, the home of the Octagon, where we chronicle our search for the ultimate B movie. And We Talk Podcasts has a Facebook and they have a Twitter. And that is it from now. Thanks for listening.